Making money is half the battle, but you're a high-income earner, so you've already done that part. The next half of the battle is keeping that money. I know many people that make over $500,000 a year, but can't find an extra $1,000 a month to either save or invest with. I know people who make $300,000 a year and still have like $50,000 worth of credit card debt. The truly wealthy are those who keep more of the money they make. They're able to put it to work for them with investments and savings and let it grow so that it helps bring down the stress in their life. If you want that, or that sounds appealing to you, listen up. Because these are 6 of the biggest wealth killers for anyone, but especially for high-income earners. Number 1, ego. This one keeps you trapped. You either have an image of yourself that you want to see or you want others to see, so you make bad decisions to help keep up this false appearance. According to Eckhart Tolle, the ego is the habitual and compulsive thought processes that go through everybody's mind continuously. Left unchecked, this constant ego monologue prevents us from focusing on the present moment, and instead we're caught up in worrying about what happens next, or what we want to buy next. The ego wants things in your life to happen a certain way and a specific image to be presented. The ego believes that if you get the right things, position and status, you'll be happy. You can tell your ego is present in this situation when you feel yourself becoming stressed, defensive, outraged, offended, and angry. Although some people turn their anger inward and become depressed. You find yourself saying or thinking, "Why did this happen to me? What have I done to deserve this? How dare they blank? How will I ever attain X now that this has happened?" There's no other option. Allowing your ego to take over will never allow you to find financial happiness. The ego relies on you feeling like the donkey with the carrot attached to the stick just a little bit ahead of him. Just when you think you've almost made it, the carrot stays just out of reach. The ego forces you to think about how things should be and leaves you constantly dissatisfied with current conditions. Financial happiness depends on your ability to disregard what the ego wants and stay present in the moment. Instead of focusing on how things are supposed to go, focus more on just the way things are and what you can control at this moment. Number 2 is a big one, and this one's called lifestyle creep. When you make $40,000 per year, paying for necessities like rent, groceries, and a car payment to get to work are about all you can afford. When you go from $40,000 per year to $60,000 per year, you technically should be able to pocket that extra $20,000 per year because you are making it work to live off of $40,000. So if you have any extra, it should not be needed to be spent. Instead, we tell ourselves things like, "I worked so hard I deserve a new car," or "I can afford to get a bigger place to live in." So now, even though you make $20,000 more per year, you actually still have $0 extra dollars per year to actually go work for you in the stock market. Had you taken the $20,000 per year and put it in the S&P 500 that returns 10% each year, within 10 years that would have grown to over $318,000. Lifestyle creep is where you start to buy things that you technically can afford, but maybe you shouldn't be buying because now your expenses are rising with how much money you're making. My challenge to you is to go out and make as much money as possible, but to try to keep your expenses at the current level they are. The richest people I know are keeping their expenses pretty close to what it was when they were making $60,000 or $80,000 a year, and now they're making $250,000 a year, and all that extra is going to work for them in the stock market, savings, and other investments. Number 3, this one is financial illiteracy. And there's a couple levels to this. Number 1 is just the idea that you don't know anything that has to do with either stocks or bonds or any investments, and so out of fear, you kind of stay in cash. You understand that money in the bank, you can understand that because it's sitting there and you can see the number, and you think of things like the stock market as a casino. If you don't understand it, it is smart not to invest in it. I do agree with that. But what I would say is don't just sit in this and not understand it. Try to understand some of these things and learn just a little bit using my channel and other resources, and then make safe investments. The next level would be trusting a financial advisor who charges 1% to put you into funds that you can absolutely do on your own. They take advantage of you for the most part. They put you in 30 different holdings so that when you open up your portfolio, it just looks like a bunch of craziness, and that makes you stressed out and makes you think, oh, I could never do this on my own because it's so complex. This is why I made this channel, to make investing simplified, because you absolutely can do it on your own. And by doing it the way that I outline in a lot of my videos, this gives you so much power back. The last piece of financial illiteracy is when you think that you can beat the stock market, and so you're picking individual stocks or things based off of hype. Now, there are a lot of individual companies that are great companies, and there are companies that are smaller and then they turn out to be a great pick, like Nvidia over the last year or two. But these are few and far between, and you need to do much research and understand a lot if you're going to try to play that game. It's so much easier to just stick with something like the S&P 500 or a broad market index fund. Number 4. If you are a high income earner, you're probably intelligent, capable, strong, and independent. These are some of the skills and some of the characteristics that got you to where you are, and you're able to make a high income because of this. I've started 8 or 9 businesses up to this point and lecture hundreds of students as a university professor each semester. So I know what it takes to motivate myself, work hard, work when nobody's looking, and show up to consistently build something bigger than myself. One of my downfalls early in business, however, was my need for control and to do things only myself. I didn't delegate well. I just didn't trust that others were going to be able to do things on time or as good as me, and definitely that they weren't going to work as hard as me. Well, I was wrong, and I burned out pretty quickly in business, and once I started to learn how to delegate and have others help me, it made the business grow 5 times as fast. I also thought this way in my own finances and investing for a while. As soon as I started asking for tips or help from wealthy investors, people who were at where I wanted to be one day, my finances and my investing shot through the roof. There's an African proverb that I like that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. I've been a financial coach now for a couple of years, and I can say without a doubt that my clients love to work with me because I'm an unbiased professional with expertise to help them, but without taking a portion of their portfolio for the rest of their life. I provide similar services to a financial advisor, but without taking a percentage. So my fee is much less overall than what a normal financial advisor is going to charge you. I give you guidance and reassurance that you're on the right track. To book a private financial coaching call with me, go to ProfessorG.invest@gmail.com. I obviously have my own thousands of hours of research in this field as a university professor on the subject, but also having done hundreds of these consultations, I can give you insight into what the richest people are doing well and shielding you from all the mistakes they wish they would not have done. I'm usually booked out for a couple of weeks in advance, so reach out as soon as possible to get in before all the craziness in this election cycle that we're about to see. Number 5 is expensive hobbies. Inevitably, you're going to run into this one. As you start to make more money, you're going to be able to buy more things and do more things. And some things that you couldn't do before because it cost too much money sound great right now. You'll also be hanging around with others who have a bunch of money and who probably have these hobbies, and so jumping in with them sounds like a great idea as well. This goes along with the ego from number 1 and the lifestyle creep from number 2, but you just need to be cognizant of it and need to have a plan. Take this one with a grain of salt in 2 main areas. Number 1, if you're partaking in these expensive hobbies for business reasons and can clearly measure the ROI on this purchase, then it could be a smart idea. I know many people who have a $5,000 a month country club or golf course membership, and at this place they're able to do $15,000 worth of sales because of the networking that they do at the course. That's a smart idea. And number 2, expensive hobbies might be okay if this is actually life-giving. I'm all about mental health and having balance in life. I hope that you don't need to spend a lot of money in order to find that type of joy in your life, but if there is some expensive hobby that you just need and it absolutely centers you and it prevents burnout and it makes it so that you can show up better and stronger at your job and for your family, then I'm all for it and it's worth that amount of money. All in all, be smart and just make sure and track where your money is going and if you're actually getting the value out of how much money you're spending. Number 6 is a big one and it's somewhat complicated, but this one's all about delayed investments. And then after this one, I'm going to actually give you a bonus for those of you that stuck around to the end. So delayed investments, this one's moderately self-explanatory, but basically scared money doesn't make money. If you just keep putting money in a savings account or saying I'll invest later, well, later comes and it comes a lot faster than you think and you never actually invested. In this world of investing, your biggest ally, your biggest asset is compound interest. And compound interest is very heavily correlated with time in the market. Figure out an investing plan, which I'd recommend the videos on my simple 3 ETF portfolio if you need a good place to start. Now the bonus on this one is the one that I've actually heard from a bunch of my private financial coaching clients, and this is the one where they've lost the most amount of money and that I hope that you can learn from their mistake. And this would be all about opportunity cost. The idea that someone is focusing so much on something so small and they stay within the weeds that they can't even see outside of that, and so zooming out. The idea is that a lot of people right now are a little focused on the fact that the rates are dropping. And so things like a high yield savings account or bonds or money market account are going to go down from like 5% down to 4.8% or something like that. And it's going to eventually drop all the way down to 3 or 2% way down the road. But anyway, right now, focusing all your time and energy on getting that little 0.2% in a savings account is actually keeping you from making a whole bunch more money somewhere else. If you're looking in a high yield savings account and you spend all your time finding the best one, which is 4.8% rather than 4.6%, on $1 million, that is the difference of $2,000 total in a year. Had they spent a bit more time and effort researching, they could have put half of that money in the S&P 500 this year alone, as it's up 20% so far for the year, and on that $500,000, they would have made an extra $100,000 instead. To learn more about my 3 ETF portfolio, watch this video here, or watch this video that I just made last week to keep you going strong in your investing journey.